Your fitness journey starts here. Join our adjustable dumbbell playlist. She stood in front of the mirror again, holding a pair of mismatched weights that never felt quite right. Her back ached from overcompensating. Her motivation flickered like a weak bulb. But something inside her refused to give up this time. Most of us have been there, stuck between wanting to transform and feeling trapped by the wrong tools, the wrong routine, or the wrong expectations. We tell ourselves it's about discipline, but what if it's really about alignment? She'd tried gyms before, crowded spaces where she felt invisible, home workouts with equipment that either took up too much room or didn't challenge her enough. Every time she thought she'd found a solution, something fell apart. The weights were too light, then too heavy. She couldn't progress without buying more and more. What she didn't realize yet was that her frustration wasn't a sign of failure. It was a sign she was getting closer to what actually worked. For years, researchers have studied why some people stick with fitness and others don't. It's rarely about willpower. Stanford scientists found that consistency isn't born from motivation alone. It's born from removing the friction between intention and action. When the barriers disappear, the habit begins to breathe. She learned this the hard way. One morning, after another failed attempt at a structured program, she sat on her living room floor surrounded by dumbbells she barely used. They stared back at her like a graveyard of good intentions. She thought about selling them, starting over. Maybe fitness just wasn't for her. But then she paused. What if the problem wasn't her, but the system she was trying to force herself into? She started asking different questions. What if she didn't need a full gym? What if she could build strength progressively without cluttering her space or her mind? What if the right tool could adapt to her instead of the other way around? That's when everything shifted. Adjustable dumbbells weren't new. She'd seen them before, dismissed them even. They seemed gimmicky, too simple. But this time she looked deeper. She watched how they worked, how they saved space, how they let her scale resistance in seconds, not trips to the store, how they removed every excuse she'd been clinging to. She ordered a pair. Not because she believed it would change everything, but because she was tired of waiting for the perfect moment. When they arrived, she didn't feel a rush of excitement, just quiet curiosity. She adjusted the weight to 15 pounds, then 20, then back down to 10. It felt strange, almost too easy, like she'd been overcomplicating something that should have been simple all along. The first workout was clumsy. She dropped them once, forgot how to breathe through a set, but she finished. And the next day she showed up again. Here's what most people don't talk about. Transformation doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive with fanfare or a sudden burst of clarity. It creeps in through small, unremarkable moments. A workout that doesn't feel like a battle, a rep that finally clicks. A morning where you don't have to force yourself to begin. She started noticing changes, not in the mirror, not yet, but in how she felt. Her shoulders stopped tensing when she thought about exercise. Her mornings felt lighter. The weights became part of her routine the way coffee or music already were. Effortless, integrated. Part of her still doubted it could last. After all, she'd been here before. The honeymoon phase, the excitement that fades after 2 weeks. She braced herself for the inevitable drop-off, but it didn't come. Not this time. Why? Because the barrier between her and action had finally collapsed. She didn't need to psych herself up. She didn't need to clear space or rearrange her schedule. The weights were there, adjustable, ready, waiting for her to meet them halfway. Physiologically, something interesting was happening too. Her muscles were responding to progressive overload, the gradual increase in resistance that signals growth. With traditional dumbbells, she would have hit a plateau weeks ago. She'd have needed to buy heavier weights or abandon certain exercises altogether. But now, she could scale up in 5-pound increments. Her body stayed challenged, her mind stayed engaged. She thought she was chasing strength, but what she found was rhythm. There's a concept in behavioral psychology called environmental design. It suggests that our surroundings shape our actions more than our intentions do. If the path to a goal is smooth, we follow it. If it's littered with obstacles, even small ones, we detour. Adjustable dumbbells weren't just a fitness tool. They were an environmental redesign, a way of making progress feel inevitable instead of optional. She didn't know the science, but she felt the truth of it. One afternoon, after a particularly satisfying workout, she sat down and realized she hadn't thought about quitting in weeks. That was the real victory. Not the weight she could lift, not the definition in her arms, but the absence of resistance. The quiet confidence that came from showing up and knowing the tools would meet her where she was. What surprised me most wasn't just how adjustable dumbbells improved my experience with progressive strength training, but how everything started to feel different once I switched to the right method. I wasn't expecting such a clear change, and honestly, I tested it more than a few times before I figured out what really worked. This isn't a promotion, just sharing real results that made a noticeable difference for me. I'll leave the link below if you want to explore what I mean. Still, there were moments of doubt. Days when her body felt heavy, when the weights felt heavier than they should, when progress seemed invisible. She learned to sit with that discomfort instead of fleeing from it. She learned that plateaus aren't failures, they're recalibrations. The body adjusting, the mind catching up. Sometimes we only understand strength when it's tested. She started experimenting with different routines: chest presses, shoulder raises, goblet squats, bicep curls, tricep extensions. Each exercise revealed something new about her body, how it moved, where it held tension, what it was capable of when she trusted it. The adjustable dumbbells adapted to every movement, no lag, no compromise. And then came the injury. Nothing serious, a twinge in her lower back from lifting too fast. It scared her, made her think she'd overdone it, that maybe she wasn't built for this after all. She rested, iced, stretched, and when she came back, she did something different. She lowered the weight, focused on form, moved slowly, intentionally. The injury taught her something the mirror never could. Strength isn't about force, it's about control. She adjusted the dumbbells down to 8 pounds, then 10, then 12 again. She rebuilt from the ground up. And in that rebuilding, she found a deeper kind of resilience. Not the kind that pushes through pain, but the kind that listens, that adapts, that honors the body's signals without abandoning the goal. What would you do in that moment, when the thing you've been working towards suddenly feels fragile? She chose to stay, and that choice became the foundation of everything that followed. Over time, her playlist evolved. She wasn't just doing isolated exercises anymore. She was building sequences, flow, a rhythm that felt almost meditative. The adjustable dumbbells became an extension of her body, not a tool she picked up, but a partner she moved with. She understood now why elite athletes talk about feeling their equipment. It's not about the object, it's about the relationship. Her friends started noticing, not just her physique though, that was changing too, but her energy, her posture, the way she carried herself. She didn't talk about it much, didn't post transformation photos or preach about routines. She just kept showing up, and people felt the difference. One friend asked her what changed. She thought for a moment, then smiled. "I stopped waiting for the perfect setup. I just started." That was the truth of it. The adjustable dumbbells weren't magic. They were permission. Permission to start small, to scale up, to take up space without taking over the room, to fail and adjust and try again without judgment. She realized fitness wasn't a destination. It was a conversation between her body and the tools, between her goals and her reality, between who she was and who she was becoming. And in that conversation, she found freedom. Months passed. She no longer thought about the weights as separate from her routine. They were just there, like breathing, like morning coffee. She'd wake up, move her body, adjust the resistance, and move again. No drama, no pressure, just presence. She thought back to that morning on the floor, surrounded by equipment that felt like evidence of failure. If she could talk to that version of herself, she wouldn't offer advice. She'd just say this: "You're closer than you think. The breakthrough isn't loud, it's quiet, it's small, it's adjustable." When she looked in the mirror again, it wasn't her reflection that had changed. It was what she believed about herself. She wasn't chasing transformation anymore. She was living it, one rep, one adjustment, one breath at a time. And that, she realized, was what it had always been about. Not perfection, not achievement, but presence. The ability to meet yourself where you are and move forward from there, with the right tools, the right mindset, and the willingness to adjust when life demands it. Sometimes we only understand strength when it's tested, and sometimes we only find freedom when we stop trying to force it. Educational note: this content is for informational and motivational purposes only. Always consult with a healthcare professional or certified trainer before beginning any new fitness program, especially if you have existing health conditions or injuries. Listen to your body and progress at your own pace. Tell us what part of this story resonated most and where you're watching from. See you in the next video. Bye.